tiene la mejor en mano. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias.
Yeah.
No, I'm just going to add to Richard's very intelligent comments, is that hiring is still a human action. And even though, you know, if you come with the certification of a respectable institution, it's being seen as a good entry point at this point in time. But once you're at that door, your impressions are the ones that most count. And if in getting into the door doesn't necessarily mean that you only have to come from a very highly accredited, or not, let's not talk about accreditation, highly recognized organization. I think when you look at the online learning and today where it is, and Clayton Christensen's Disrupting Class book is a very clear example of that. Online education is here, and it's going to take on a lot of momentum. It's grown rapidly, and it's grown for the best, because we're giving more opportunities to people that were not able to come to an education, or were not able to receive a quality education. So that's something that is a high value add that an online institute provides. The second one is that you're already integrating into the real world life, which is going to be online, which is going to be in high collaboration with the use of your tools and with the use of knowledge, and being curious about infrastructure, or how do I use this computer, how do I use this social network, how do I use this mobile device, and all such. So I wouldn't see it as I wouldn't see it as an issue that you come in from a university that is not in the top 100 Ivy League schools or whatever. That's something that when I hire my employees, I look at them as a person, and I want to see how they're going to be able to solve problems for our company, and how are they going to give their best to the company. And that's what really matters most, than if they came from Harvard or if they came from MIT.
I just want to take a minute here and introduce Hugo Perez. He's joining us from Data Corps.
Sorry for being late. Trying to change tires in a moving car is a very challenging job. Thank you.
So, Hugo, earlier today we went around the table and asked everybody a question about their company. So I already asked Carlos a question, but I'm going to ask you again.
Okay.
See, maybe you have a different perspective.
Sure.
So, I was told everyone earlier that you guys are a very important partner to us, and we basically do all of our IT outsourcing for you, which allows us to focus on our business. So, in what industries have you seen a big push towards outsourcing of IT? How do education institutes benefit from outsourcing IT, and what value do you add to their business?
Okay, that's a great question. Well, you know, the impact that the economy has had globally across all the industries, outsourcing, right, or what we call out-partnering, is we like to use that word quite often, is where you look at an organization that has the same core foundation in terms of integrity, business ethics. It's really a cultural fit, almost as a sense of every company. And we've seen a lot of companies look at that as a way of going back to basics, of focusing to their core business, do what you do well. IT is obviously incredibly important to every business, really bar none at this point. Even folks in agriculture are looking at some form of technology to better their business. And so what we've seen, that where we think that outsourcing has worked well, has been where those industries like education, like healthcare, where, you know, technology is an integral part of their business. I mean, you say, well, I'm in the education business. Well, you know, without technology in whatever raw form, you don't have much. So we've been looking at those two verticals, healthcare obviously through your leadership, through our collaborative partners with, you know, obviously with Microsoft, Citrix, Cisco, and a few others, and certainly eco partners like Terramark. We've seen that outsourcing is really the best way to establish some form of agility. Because here's the problem that we all face, is who's going to be, it's all about agility. When you look at the generation, my children, 24, 20, and 16, my oldest son is in med school, and you know, they expect things on demand. No different than when we go home, and you're saying, oh, the new movie just came out. You know you can go home and it's there, regardless of what device you're looking at. So the reality is, I think that when you look at education and healthcare, those are the two verticals that we are looking to really focus our energies on. We're no different. You know, just like, you know, you've elected to partner with us, we have other partnerships. Because we don't want to bite off on everything. So we're going to, in fact, our whole business model is based on do what you do best and partner for the rest. And that partnership, although that word is used loosely, just like the word cloud is used loosely, we take very seriously. In fact, our tagline is powered by partnerships and driven by service. And at the end of the day, to your point, on the human element, that's really what matters. It matters attitude, agility, and that attitude to get things done. So I think that outsourcing for us, or out-partnering as we call it, is going to be what's going to allow us to kind of get a jump start into our second decade, because we're celebrating our 10th year this year. So long-windedly, that's kind of, you know, the way we see it.
Thank you.
I have a question for Leo, because we were talking about education is going anytime, anywhere, and now anything. So how software companies may manage the situation of being, we talk about cell phones, but we can go to anything like a couple years ago we shot the netbook that was for, now we're going to iPads and other type of solutions like that, tablets. So
And in some remote cases, they haven't gone to those. They're still using the internet cafes because they use both extremes.
yeah, right. So how your solutions can be so broad, and how do you work with it?
Well, I think that all depends on the IT, right? The type of infrastructure that, you know, the IT is built on. Our concept is to take the worry off the user, right? Not letting users worry about how to access the information. Are they limited, not limited? You know, what worries do they have? No, let those worries be to the people that are going to give them that service. Right? So let the IT folks, the data center, we prepare everything so that, you know, the information is available at any time. You know, today we believe that users are, you know, they're roaming anywhere that they go, right? They, you know, they have these internet cafes where people now go there to chat, be sociable, do, you know, what they like. What better than just pop your laptop open, use a friend's laptop, a tablet, and say, you know what, I need to do a comment to my homework, right? Here you go, let me respond to my discussion question from last night that I had to commit to, you know, right there and then. So that access is, you know, is valuable, right? And I think it makes you resourceful, right? It makes you resourceful when you know, you heard you guys who were talking about, you know, how the online institute and all of this, I'm hearing you guys. I think it makes individuals more resourceful, because in a classroom, you can tend to raise your hand and say, well, how can you tell me the answer? You know, when you're in an online, you have to go fetch that answer, right? And I think with, you know, we're getting more and more accustomed to that because of the search engines that are out there. Bing, Google, you know, it has allowed us to be that way, right? Basically, if you have a question, what do? You go to the search engine and you find it.
We need to click notes.
Right? So, in a way, I think that we need to, you know, by allowing us, Microsoft, Terramark, you know, all the ones that are here, Citrix, to provide, you know, users of how to be resourceful. How do you just, you know, it doesn't stop there. How do you get prepared? How do you learn about the systems that you're using to basically help you, I guess, succeed, right?
Can I add to that? So, I don't add much. So
We need to catch up.
So one of the things that I can tell you is that what's incredibly impactful is that when you look at the relationship that Citrix and Microsoft have developed over the years, it's pretty impactful. In fact, when we really think about it, even before, right on the onset of the internet, and really before the internet, if you look at where Citrix has always hit a home run coupled with Microsoft. It's all been about, centralized computing. Before all of us, right, maybe a couple of us not, but, the mainframe dominated, where people would have a separate computing environment and they would access from a wired infrastructure, and they would get access to their applications. But there's limitations to that, because you cannot have a global reach. Today, that's completely absurd if you don't have a global reach. When you look at the technologies that Citrix and Microsoft and a few other collaborative partners have built, coupled with some of these data centers that are beastly, there's absolutely no reason at all why you couldn't collaborate with someone who's completely outside of the earth. You can be in the middle of the jungle during crusade or a vacation, and you can really be the CEO of a public company and really carry yourself in a board meeting or through some kind of video conferencing technology. Because here's what's really going to break everything and really thanks to what we used to see when we were kids in movies, the network. One of the reasons why Verizon is interested in telemarketing, Verizon, everybody understands that it's all about connectivity. Once the connectivity is there, then solutions such as what Citrix and Microsoft have done is going to allow them to accelerate and maximize their potential. And that's exactly right. I mean, I can now have my son who can move way across the world, and he lives down the street from my house, but I never see him, but I can be just as close to him from a digital perspective once that technology is in place, leveraging everything else, as if he was sitting right next door like we used to. So,
en lo que es educación, nosotros podemos conectar un profesor especializado en una materia que puede estar tal vez en Europa, en Francia, en una clase, y evaluación de cualquier proyecto del mundo. Y eso se conecta a través de muchas plataformas, vía las redes. Entonces, finalmente, tú puedes llegar a lo mejor con lo mejor de cualquier parte del mundo.
well, what's happening right now with healthcare? But when I mentioned healthcare, you know what's happening right now? I mean, you look at Cisco, and of course, I think that you apologize on their behalf. But one of the things that Cisco is doing, you got John Chambers, who's focusing his energy, right? His claim to fame is going to be telepresence. The ability, just like almost like in Star Trek, to deal with teletransport, okay? So I don't know if you've seen that solution in place.
Actually,
but
that was my question for.
yeah, well, if you look at, you paint a little frame around any of us, and it's the same look and feel as if you can reach right through the picture frame and shake hands. We will be at the same eye level, no different than here. Well, where that technology is being used today is in healthcare. You've got third world countries where they don't have the luxury of having the best in class professors and doctors and physicians, and you look at Haiti, right? I mean, obviously that's the disaster that happened there. They don't have the luxury of bringing in all the specialists. Well, you know what? The technology, they're there. In fact, there's actually case studies where there's been operations, robotic operations, across the globe, where you have a cardiologist or some form of specialist doing an operation across the world, right? There's some kind of robotic arm sitting somewhere else on a patient who would have died or shortened their years of life if it wouldn't have been for that technology. So that's exactly where we are. So imagine you take that, and that's life impacting, right? So is education. So you look at those two arenas, and I think that there's no limit.
Y uno de los temas importantes también que han mencionado es el tema de la conectividad, que todos a través de la tecnología estamos conectados, y esto es bien importante especialmente para una escuela de negocios, por ejemplo. Hoy en día no hay un mercado americano de negocios, no hay un mercado colombiano de negocios. El mercado es el mundo entero. Entonces, a través de estas tecnologías que nosotros estamos adoptando en el college, estamos preparando a nuestros alumnos para que se integren a este mundo de negocios que es global, básicamente. Entonces, el hecho de que tienen compañeros de clase o profesores que están en otro continente, que están en otro país, eso ya los está preparando para ya ser líderes de sus propios negocios, si son empresarios, o si están en sus propias compañías. Uno de los temas bien importantes para nosotros en la Escuela de Negocios es que aprendan los skills para resolver problemas, no solo porque son el líder y son el líder en términos de título, ¿verdad? Que llevan el título de director o gerente o lo que sea, sino que aprendan a resolver problemas independientemente del cargo en donde estén en sus compañías. Entonces eso es bien importante, y el uso de la tecnología que es parte de eso también. Entonces, Edgar mencionaba lo del CRM. Lo de CRM, Customer Relationship Management, eso se aplica para todo.